What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitico Response. Now, we're going to talk about something today that I don't think we talk about enough in this country. You know, one of the most insane, historical, unprecedented moments in this country. They tried to assassinate a former president and current frontrunner to be the president of the United States, and we don't talk about that nearly enough. You notice that news came up. It was in circulation for a couple of days, and then it went right away. Now, us off in the background, we kept talking about it for a little while. But, you know, Alejandro Mayorkas issued an investigation from an independent panel. They just released their findings. Check this out, y'all. Panel looking into Trump assassination attempt says Secret Service needs fundamental reforms. Fundamental reforms, my ass. But we'll get into that. But, right quick, if you guys could do me a big favor. YouTube loves to keep the little guys down. They want to keep me in a box. They don't want information like this getting out. They don't want me talking about the Trump assassination. So, if you guys could do me a big favor, smash that like button for me. Hey, if you're new around here, subscribe. It would really help me out. And right now, I need as much help as I can get. Another way you can help, share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. Share it on X, share it on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere. Doesn't matter. Share this video, get the news out, so we can have an informed citizenry, for crying out loud. But let's get into this news right quick. Check it out, y'all. An independent panel investigating the attempted assassination of Donald Trump at a Pennsylvania rally says the Secret Service needs fundamental reform and new leadership, and that another Butler can and will happen again without major changes in how candidates are protected. The review faulted the Secret Service for poor communications that day and failing to secure the building where the gunman took his shots. It also found more systemic issues at the agency, such as a failure to understand the unique risks facing Trump and a culture of doing more with less. It sounds like doing less with more is what it sounds like to me. Although at the same time claiming we're doing more with less, they're actually doing less with more. Because, yeah, have you seen how much they're funding? They get billions of dollars. I think it's like, I'm not sure if I remember exactly, so don't quote me on this, but I'm wanting to say it's like $3.5 billion a year is how much their agency gets for funding. That's a lot of money, y'all. Now, I don't know exactly what it takes to fund, the Secret Service, but that sounds like a lot of money to me. But I could be totally just green on this one and not know, just totally ignorant in this situation, but it sounds like a lot, don't it? The 52-page report issued Thursday recommended bringing in new outside leadership and refocusing on the Secret Service's protective mission. Poor communications, no plan for key buildings. Here we go, y'all. The panel echoed previous reports that have zeroed in on the failure to secure the building near the rally that had a clear line of sight to where Trump was speaking, and the multiple communications problems that hindered the ability of the Secret Service and local and state law enforcement to talk to each other. Now, they said, oh, that's just a communication failure. No, that was done on purpose. See, that's where these people love to lie to you. We found in news articles, as a matter of fact, so this isn't my opinion, this is fact from, as a matter of fact, I believe it was the House investigation findings. They found that it was intentional that they didn't talk about this. But see, you love this quote-unquote independent review. They're going to tell you, oh no, it's just a failure. They just failed to do that. Well, yeah, you could say they failed to do that, but that doesn't get to the root of the problem. That was intentional, and we found that out. How come you didn't put that in your report, that it was intentionally done? They did that on purpose so they wouldn't communicate, right? They intentionally didn't secure the building, the AGR building. But they're not going to tell you that. The panel faulted the planning between Secret Service and the local law enforcement and said that the Secret Service failed to ask about what was being done to secure the building. Relying on a general understanding that the locals have that area covered is simply not good enough, and in fact, at Butler, this attitude contributed to the security failure. Now, once again, we know for a fact local law enforcement told Secret Service this building is a security risk. They chose not to secure that building. So, once again, folks, you can't put much trust in your government. You can't put much trust in Alejandro Mayorkas's independent review that he didn't do, but somebody else did. It was independent, but their findings are pretty much in line with what the government found, what FBI found, right? And this is all insane. It was intentional. They didn't secure that building, and local law enforcement noticed that, hey, this building isn't secure, and told the Secret Service about it. There was several instances of local law enforcement doing a better job than Secret Service, informing the Secret Service, hey, look, here is a hole in your security web. And, hey, why don't you fill this hole? And they said no. Outright. The review questioned why there were 2 separate command posts at the rally and found other communications problems, including the need to switch radio channels because radio traffic from agents protecting First Lady Jill Biden at an event in Pittsburgh was coming across the channels of agents who were with Trump. Also, law enforcement personnel on the ground used a chaotic mixture of radio, cell phone, text, and email, and it was unclear who had ultimate command that day. Now, that is something we didn't hear from those other reports. I didn't know that communications from Jill Biden's event was overlapping with the Butler, PA event. I never heard that before, so that's a new information. Now, once again, all of this should have been known, should have been communicated, but once again, they probably chose not to communicate that they would be on different radios. And by the way, who communicates at a rally event like this through email? What sense does that make? I understand text because you get notifications, your phone vibrates on text messages. You know, mine doesn't vibrate when I get emails. I just have to go check my emails from time to time. How much sense does it make to try to immediately communicate with somebody through emails? I don't know if that's what they were doing, but that's what it sounds like they were doing. Cultural issues within the agency. The report painted a picture of an agency struggling to think critically about how it carries out its mission, especially when it comes to protecting Trump. Yeah, okay, so there you go. There, you said it all when it comes to protecting Trump. Yeah, folks, these people were just simply apathetic to if Trump got killed or not. That's what it seems like. Because anybody that gets to that level in the Secret Service, right? If you get to that level, middle management, whatever, whoever was in charge of deciding to not secure this building, whoever was in charge of deciding not to go to the security briefing that morning, whoever was in charge of not communicating with local law enforcement, whoever was in charge of, hearing about, hey, this is a threat, you should secure this building, there's this guy over here with a rangefinder, whoever was in charge deciding not to communicate this to the people surrounding Trump. That's not a failure. I am sorry. You don't get to that level and you get that many red flags and you do nothing about it. I'm sorry. My logic works out perfectly clearly on this, right? You can't get to that level. Simple me can figure this out. If somebody comes to me 10 minutes beforehand, because we know 10 minutes beforehand, 2 minutes beforehand even, and says, hey, there's a guy with a gun on the roof right over there, 130 yards away from your protectee, that would tell me immediately, gets Trump off the stage. Immediately. Tackle him, drag him off the stage if you've got to. Get him off the stage. Somebody chose not to communicate that, right? And I would love to know who that was. That person should be fired and criminally investigated, for crying out loud. This is just insane how that they're leaving all this information out of this thing. The panel said agency personnel operated under the assumption that they effectively had to do more with less. Yeah, right. The report said the additional security measures taken to protect Trump after the Butler shooting should have been taken before. To be clear, the panel did not identify any nefarious or malicious intent behind this phenomenon, but rather an over-reliance on assigning personnel based on categories former candidate nominee instead of an individualized assessment of risk, the panel wrote. The panel also noted that the back and forth between Trump's security detail and Secret Service headquarters regarding how many people were needed to protect him. The panel also faulted some of the senior level staff who were involved in the rally for what they called a lack of ownership. In one example, the panel said a senior agent on site who was tasked with coordinating communications didn't walk around the rally site ahead of time and did not brief the state police counterpart before the rally about how communications would be managed. That person should be fired outright. Whoever was in charge of those communications, right? That person intentionally failed that. That's not just an accident. You don't just whoopsie your way into Thomas Crooks getting on the roof and shooting at Donald Trump. That's just statistically impossible to do. That many failures in a row. Statistically impossible. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. It cited the relative inexperience of two specific agents who played a role in security for the July 13th rally. One was the site agent for Trump's detail, whose job it was to coordinate with the Pittsburgh field office on security planning for the rally. The panel said the agent graduated from the Secret Service Academy in 2020 and had only been on the Trump detail since 2023. Before the Butler rally, the agent had only done minimal previous site advance work or site security planning. Another agent assigned to operate a drone detection system had only used technology at 2 prior events. What did the panel recommend? The panel recommended new leadership specifically from outside the agency, but the report did not say whether anyone should be fired. Other recommendations included having a unified command post at all large events, overhead surveillance for all outdoor events, security plans that specify how to mitigate line-of-sight concerns out to 1,000 yards, and who's in charge, and more training on how to get protectees out of dangerous scenarios. Hang on, they did a pretty good job of that if you ask me. Like, allowing Trump to stand up and raise his fist, you're not going to be able to stop the dude from doing that. I'm sorry. You're not going to be able to stop him from doing that. That was a badass moment that needed to happen, to be honest with you. The panel said the agency needs renewed focus on its core protective mission, while expressing skepticism that the agency should continue with the investigations it currently conducts. While the Secret Service is well known for what it does to protect presidents and other dignitaries, it also investigates financial crimes. I thought it didn't do that anymore, y'all. In the panel's opinion, it is simply unacceptable for the service to have anything less than a paramount focus on its protective mission, particularly while the protective mission function is presently suboptimal, the report said. Panel members included Janet Napolitano, Homeland Security Secretary under President Barack Obama, Mark Phillip, Deputy Attorney General under President George W. Bush, David Mitchell, who served in numerous state and local law enforcement roles in Maryland and Delaware, and Francis Fragos, Townsend Bush's assistant for Homeland Security and Counterterrorism. But this is not the first time that an independent review has found fault with the agency. After a man jumped the White House fence and evaded Secret Service to run into the building, a panel a decade ago looked into how the agency protects the White House. It recommended some of the same changes. So that to me sounds like they didn't implement those changes. It sounds like to me that with some of this is complacency and just apathy, to be honest with you. Complacency, apathy, get you into certain situations, and then just a general don't give a damn about what's going on if Trump gets shot or not. That sounds like the rest of it. And that's criminal, right? You don't work in a service that protects people and just say, who cares about this? Who cares about going to a security briefing? Who cares about, this building is clearly a problem and we should secure it, but screw it. Nobody's going to try to shoot Trump. Who cares? Right? And this is all, they all knew. We know this from other reports. They all knew about the Iranian threats that were in this country, as a matter of fact. Because they just arrested a man on those Iranian threats just days prior to this. As a matter of fact, I think it was the day before this, if my memory serves. They arrested a man on a plot to assassinate Trump just a day before this on the 12th. That's insane, right? Maybe... Now, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on this. Maybe they thought that Iranian threat, that was over with. They arrested one guy, a Pakistani national. One guy for that. Hang on. No, I'm sorry. Do you think Iran is going to have just one guy? I don't know. Benefit of the doubt, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I should give them benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm currently doing, but I don't know about that one, y'all. Y'all let me know down in the comments, but this is just outright crazy that they keep on saying security failures when they're clearly intentional. I mean, you don't not secure that building, for crying out loud. I have to say it in plain terms. That's just insane. You can't disregard security briefings, coordination with local law enforcement when you're relying on local law enforcement to secure the outside of the perimeter, for crying out loud. You don't just disregard these things. You don't disregard communicating with those people while the event's going on. You don't disregard local law enforcement telling you there's a guy on that roof that you failed to secure the building. There's a guy on that roof with a gun. You don't disregard that and not tell the immediate protective detail about that could easily rush Trump off stage. 10 minutes beforehand, before Trump even started talking, 10 minutes before, they knew about this threat. They knew of Thomas Matthew Crooks. They knew who he was. They knew he had a rangefinder. They knew he was acting suspiciously, hanging around that building. And they chose to do nothing. That's not a failure. That was a choice, y'all. That's the only conclusion I can surmise from that. That was a choice. This panel is wrong. It's not security failures. These people should be criminally investigated, and I'm going to keep saying that until they are. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. This blows my freaking mind that they're just going to, once again, take the corporate press narrative that this was just failures, y'all. They just failed to secure all this stuff. They just failed to do 10 things in a row that just so happened to go wrong. I don't buy that. Those were intentional. Once again, you don't get to that position and ignore all these red flags. That doesn't happen. I'm sorry. You'll never convince me otherwise. But y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.